Supernanny Jo Frost returns to TV to help overwhelmed parents. Hello friends, welcome to my channel. For the latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. The 48-year-old former nanny and world-renowned parenting expert and author counseled overwhelmed and beleaguered parents with compassionate yet no-nonsense advice, delivering her own brand of parental tutelage with a down-to-earth approach. In the new version of Supernanny, which premieres Jan 1 on Lifetime, Frost will return to the spotlight to give parents the tools they need to calm wild children. Go in and help the families, and give them what they need, which might not always be what they want. It's my hope to open their eyes and give them the knowledge and tools to have confidence to walk the walk and see the results. Like any therapy or counseling, it's up to the individuals, and you hope, in time, that you've made a difference, she added. The show will follow Frost, a native of England, as she visits a family in Pittstown, New Jersey, to assist parents CJ and Jessica Brado in an attempt to temper their 4 young children: Riley, 4, Gage, 2, and 5-month-old twins Dax and Chase, according to the Post. Much has changed in the world of parenting in Frost's nearly decade-long absence from TV screens, with technology and social media currently dominating the conversation when it comes to parental woes. The social media platforms we have now have certainly elevated the good and the bad, she told the Post. They've made parents doubt themselves. The parental arena is a billion-dollar business and everybody has their own opinion. We had screen time back in the day, but we also went outside, rode our bikes, went roller skating, went to the park. We spent more time outside. As kids start to pick up on technology and social media at increasingly younger ages, Frost said she sees her super nanny role as part therapist, part nanny, and part teacher, especially when it comes to educating parents on the dangers of a technology-obsessed yet emotionally disconnected family. Parents are saying to me, "We're struggling with technology. We can't get our kids off of it," she said. And sometimes, she added, teens and tweens tell her, "I've got to fight my parents to get their attention." I'm trying to help families navigate not losing that connection in a connected world that feels so disconnected, she added. As entertaining as the show can be, Frost said the relationships she develops with each family continue even when the cameras stop rolling, including offering consultation and aftercare. Understand, this is a TV show that's made from my process of helping families, but it's very important to make sure I have contact with all of my families, she said. Jo Frost on how Supernanny has changed, and creating compassion and more empathy for families. At the beginning of this year, Jo Frost returned to the show she originated more than 15 years ago. But now, its 20 new episodes on Lifetime have evolved to address more than just nuclear families with screaming, tantrum-throwing toddlers. Jo's help for those diverse families has taken over an entire evening. You can now watch 4 hours of Supernanny every Friday on Lifetime, with new episodes premiering at 9 p.m. ET. Interviewed Jo and an executive producer from the show's production company, Shed Media, about bringing the show back more than 15 years after the first premiered and what's changed. We also talked about broadcasting kids' bad behavior to the world and about having empathy for parents who don't know what they're doing. Years ago, but it's been off the air for 9 years, not counting 2 seasons of America's Supernanny, which did not star Jo. Lifetime Supernanny is similar in structure to its early years on ABC. In each episode, Jo Frost helps one family, first observing, then working on specific strategies to help wrangle unruly kids. Like on My Cat from Hell, on which Jackson Galaxy usually finds that a cat's behavioral problems are because of its owner's choices, it's usually less about the kids and more about the adults. Her observations and advice is still blunt and direct, as you can see in the clip above from tonight's Jones-Nikolic family episode. In it, Jo says that Heather and Todd, who live in Hawaii and contend with screaming, out-of-control triplets, are offended with my directness. They are offended with my opinion. Right now they are not wanting the help. But of course, they asked for help. They applied to be on the show. Jo said there was an abundance of requests for her help. That's why the show was really important for me to bring back, Jo said. Because of the thousands of emails, because of the pleas, we need your help. While the show is fun and compelling and heartwarming, Jo said, it was also important to have a network airing the show whose executives really were behind being able to give their viewers the help that they needed. But she'd like to see larger, structural change. I like to see an administration that can understand the importance of a ministry of families, she said. Hoping that our next round of presidential leadership in this country will be one that really understands the importance of family and what we need to do to support them from the beginning. Executive producer Dan Pearson told me that the abundance of information available to parents now has created a greater need for the kind of work Jo does on Supernanny. In the show's early years, he said, there was so little parenting advice out there. These days, things are so different. There's tons of parenting advice, it's everywhere. A flood of information isn't actually helpful for families. What they really want is wisdom that comes from somebody who's got 30+ years working with families. Judging by those who search online to see if they can hire or even just have a phone call with Supernanny themselves, there's a need for her advice and assistance. Those who want her help can. Jo participates in the casting process, screening potential families, and considers how choosing a certain family to be on the show will help other families, including viewers at home. When I'm casting, and I'm looking at the abundance of emails that are coming in, she said, we are looking for many different types of families that have different parenting challenges, so that I can give as much information across the board to those families that will watch. When questions come up about specific situations, Jo said, I have a team of people that helped me get those questions to make sure that I specifically have answers to those questions. I do my due diligence. For example, she said, I want history on medication because we cannot ignore the fact that medication can have an impact on somebody's psyche. The show also now enlists experts on camera to help with specific situations that may be outside Jo's area of expertise and training. With the Corey family, when Jo found out about Maria's postpartum depression, Pearson said, the decision to go and meet with her physician, that was something that Jo felt was really important to do. So we made it happen. The physician was happy to take part, which is great. Always have loved the moments when I'm just talking how it is, Jo said. I know that the viewers love that when you just come out of a house and you're like, blimey, it's getting a bit hot in there right now. The key difference now, Jo told me, is in the ages of the kids and the structure of families' lives. Now, there are kids of all different ages and all different types of family dynamics, and that's affected the type of advice she offers. Back then, it was predominantly toddlers and inappropriate, mischievous behavior. Now it's helping families of all different ages. You could be a young adult living at home with a baby with your mom and dad. You could be a parent, a grandparent looking after children while one parent is deployed, she said. My approaches and techniques and advice have to be different, because I'm dealing with different circumstances. After a day of observation, Jo spends 3 days teaching the family, and then she comes back to check in. There's only a 2-day gap between the teaching days and Jo's return, not an incredibly long time for the family to practice what they've learned. The show's aesthetic has been updated too. It's less mid-2000s bombastic network reality show, and more documentary style. Some of the footage used was filmed by the families themselves, on cell phones. Executive producer Pearson told me that every parent has a cell phone that's filled with photos and videos of their kids, and the show wanted to utilize the media that exists. So, a lot of it is self-shot footage from the families. Because that speaks to the major problems that just didn't exist the last time around. He also said that kids today are very used to being filmed. They're very used to their lives being captured. But are they used to having their lives broadcast to the world and made available for people to judge? After all, having your behavior broadcast to millions on a cable reality show is different than broadcast on social media. The kids and their bad behavior takes center stage, especially during the early part of each episode. I asked Pearson, who's Shed Media's Senior Vice President of Programming and Development, about that, especially since kids aren't consenting to have their lives taped and become a permanent record. Parents obviously make a decision, he said, to go on the show. And we're really clear that the reason we